Morning, everybody. Want to just share this. We are all members of the same body. That's what I want to say. That we're members of the same body, and somewhere along the way, we became dismembered or separated from each other. Now, I know. Hey there, family. It's been a minute since I've been on. I think I took maybe a week or so off. Um, if you guys have been following me, you know my life has been kind of up and down. But let me just share the last week, the 15th, Monday was the 1 year anniversary, if you will, of Miriam's death. And the 3 days following that, I will tell you, um, it wasn't easy for me. I posted that I was feeling that Lenny Williams kind of thing, that I felt like I wanted to roll myself up in a big old ball and die. And I know that there are so many people that are experiencing loss, and my heart goes out to those of you who are feeling the grief of losing a loved one. Um, Believe me, I know it's tough. So I'm praying that we all can get through this together. But guys, I wanted to just jump on here real quick because it's about that time for me to hit the gym. And yeah, I try to make certain that I talk to you guys before I go in. And this really fires me up to share what I'm thinking as I'm about to move into this totally physical sense. When I go into the gym, it's all physical because I'm conscious of what I'm doing for my physical body and keeping my physical body healthy. But if you, for those of you who don't know me, as Coach Richard Cuff, I'm president of CTI Marketing, founder of Nasimba Business Alliance, and certified master greatness coach at GetReadyForGreatness.com. I'm not your typical coach, primarily because I didn't start my coaching career at at this moment that most people are getting into coaching. I've been at this for 4 decades, literally since I was 22 years old, and back then it was called motivational speaking. And we didn't have the internet, we didn't have all these tools, and you just read books and you were inspired by people. My greatest inspiration back then was Les Brown. I knew Les before Les was the Les that you guys knew. Because I grew up in Miami and Liberty City, Les was in Overtown. Les left to, and his story. He became the politician in Ohio, and then he moved back to Miami to take care of his mom. And that's when I met Les. I had just gotten back from the army. Les is maybe 15 years older than I am, and he was really firing up the community after the May riots of 1980, and I just was drawn to his positive words. And I remember hearing Les say, "If life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up." And I was hooked from there. Probably volunteered and worked closely with him for about 18 months, and then left the city and became the Les ultimately became the Les Brown that you guys know right now. Well, what I want to talk to you about is this part of us being members of the same body. In fact, the word member has no other um, meaning, or the original meaning, and the only, if you research the word member, it only related to body parts, and specifically those dealing with sex organs. I'll have to do a little bit of research on what that was about, but the origin of the word member was these were parts of your body were called members. So the later membership became part of being a group when you became a member of a group, because Christians began to call themselves the body of Christ, and they said we are all members of this body, and that's how the word membership came to where it is now. When you join a group, you get a membership. And but the word member originally came from body parts. So if you think about it, when you take the body apart, you dismember the body. When you bring those parts back together, you remember the body. And so, but again, there we go. We use member as it means to join a group, or remember as it means to bring up a thought. But actually, the word remember is to put a body back together again. Um, I was thinking about that this morning and doing some research, and I love science, guys. But the five most abundant elements in our universe are in order. There's mostly hydrogen, then there's helium in the universe, then there's oxygen, then there's carbon, and then there's nitrogen. What's really interesting, and it makes sense when you think about it from what I've been talking about with multidimensional thinking. Remember, the higher dimension gives birth to the lower dimension. You get the fourth dimension because there was a fifth dimension. Without a fifth dimension, we could not get a fourth dimension. And if that is true, you should be able to see that all over the place, where you can see it in the universe. The universe has those five elements. It has the hydrogen, helium, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. But our bodies are made up of mostly hydrogen, mostly oxygen, mostly carbon and nitrogen. We don't have helium in our bodies. It's that noble gas that it doesn't sit well in our at our in our on our cellular level. That's why when you breathe it, it makes your voice sound crazy. It's literally something from the fifth dimension. So, but God uses helium, but we don't use it. We are a lower dimensional being. We have only four out of the five. The five creates the four, and then from the four, we create our three-dimensional world. And then our three-dimensional world can create the two and the one, and it just goes down in that way. I want you guys to think about that, because I want you to think about the power of remembrance, the power of remembering. Remember. When we remember, we literally bring ourselves back together to the way we were. Originally, we were one body, and we are as we remember, we begin to come together. The things that divide us begin to divide us no more. We start to come together. So, how does that work in your life? When you take a breath, and relax. That's why meditation is so powerful. You are literally remembering. You're bringing in all of those elements into your body: hydrogen and oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, all of those come together with the breath. And when you breathe them out, you're breathing them back out into the universe from which they came. And now you are literally remembering yourself to the universe that is around you. Now, everything that already that you desire already has happened in another time and space. So that's why meditation and visualization is so powerful. You breathe in and you remember. So I want to give you guys a technique that I use. I talk about the list, 7 things on my list. There should be 7 things on the list. I made a list just for this morning. And when I made the list, everything on that list, I literally said, as I was writing them on the list, I remember doing this. I remember doing that. I hadn't done them yet, but I said, I remember. And on the list was, I remember going to the gym, and I remember going to the store after I went to the gym. And then the process is, what does that feel like? What would it feel like if I've gone to the gym? What would it feel like if I've already gone to the store? See, in my mind, in my spirit, I'm just remembering. I'm just putting it all back together again. I've already experienced it. It has already happened. And I am now just remembering it. I am putting it back together. So when I go down my list, my goals, my visions, everything that I want to accomplish, I am remembering it. You can try this. Try it and watch and see what happens. Write down the list. Put 7 things on your list. And as you are writing those things on your list that you want to accomplish, just for today, do it for simple. These are small things. Now it works on the big thing, on the big level. It works, but it takes a lot of work to try and make this list happen with big things, like going from being um totally in debt and homeless to being worth $10 billion. You can do that. You can put it on the list, but it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of remembering. But it only takes a little bit if you just do it on today's list. Just the things, let today's list be sufficient for today. And watch what happens as you write those things and meditate on them. Go down that list, up and down the list. I remember doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I remember doing that. See yourself accomplishing it. Then look at that list and then go and accomplish on the list. And while you are doing the one on the list, say to yourself, I remember doing thing 2. Remember, your mind will like it. It doesn't matter inside your mind, because in that part of you, there is no timeline. It's just, does the energy come together to recreate, re, bring it back again, recreate what has already been created. You're remembering what has already been a body. In fact, the word for forget is actually the word disremember. Yeah, that we don't use that word. We don't say I disremembered, because it's just that we somewhere along the way they created a word for disremember. It's forgot. So you started out together, something separated you, whatever the big bang or whatever it is, and then you remembered. You brought it back together again because you have that power. And then you disremembered. You forgot you had the power. I want you to remember that you have the power to remember. That's where I think about what you're thinking about. That's what we've been talking about in the PS Factor coaching. But when you disremember, it's totally, you've gone unconscious. So now you've got to remember that you disremembered so that you can go back and be that member of that body of Christ, that body that is the universe, that body is that is the 5 elements. Remember, helium you don't have in your physical body, because helium is part of the spiritual body, the universal body. And the universe gave birth to you. So you're not going to look exactly like the universe. The fifth dimension gave birth to the fourth dimension. Helium, I mean, hydrogen, helium, um, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Those five elements gave birth to you, and one of those elements dropped off, helium. There's no helium in you, but your body is nothing but hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Guys, let's remember who we are. Let's remember that we're one body, right? Do that. You know, try it out and tell me if it works for you. Write down that list, put 7 things on the list that you want to accomplish today, and go up and down that list and say, I remember doing this. Even before you've done it, say, I remember doing it. And then while you are doing it, I remember doing that, and remember doing the next thing on the list, and watch what happens. Feel what it's like to accomplish it. And once you get that technique down, once you're doing it on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be able to expand it to bigger things. It's going to change your life. Trust me. It's going to change your life. I've been doing it for 40 years, and I'm telling you that it works. Guys, I got to get in here and hit this treadmill, but till next time, if you want to follow me, you can obviously do that on all the social media channels. I'm on Twitter, and Facebook and LinkedIn at Richard Cuff. Instagram, I am Richard Cuff. YouTube, Get Ready for Greatness. And till next time, guys. And by the way, I was gonna say till next time, take care. But I want you to go to thegreatnessshop.com, where you can order your EPME t-shirts, download the PS Factor ebook, but also you can go to getreadyforgreatness.com and get more information on my course, that I will be able to coach you and just help you with the concept of making the list, and changing your thoughts, changing your life. Till next time, take care.